Hi, Luminaires. How is everybody doing this Friday? It's Friday! And we're going to talk about drugs and spiritual awakening. Do drugs help with this? We're going to talk about what drugs, why, when, where, all kinds of stuff. So I'm very happy to see a lot of you already here. Hey, Julia. Hi, Colleen. Peter Lombardi, I was just texting you. Hi, Wendy. I'll be sure to ask Maitland that question. I don't see her here right now in this moment, but I will be on top of it in a second. So just remind me, Wendy, as we get to chatting. But today we are going to talk about, can psychedelic drugs help you in your spiritual awakening? So before we get into it, let's take a vote. What do you think? Where are you coming from? Type in Y for yes. Oh my gosh, this can be used. It can really help you crack that brain right open the heart. And if you're on the other side of the fence, type in nope, don't do it, don't get near it, don't touch it, it's not going to help. Love to hear your insight and where you're sitting in that. And I will state that your answer will not change the way that I view you. Anything, just be honest. Any answer is correct. There might be some of you out there who are a little bit on the fence. See? S is saying, nope, don't do it. Doesn't help in the long run. We got some yeses. Tina's like, absolutely, I think it can help. Skinny Robert is saying yes. Katie S. Oh, you like the hair? Thanks. Sheldon says, never done it. Not interested. High on life already. This is great. Well, I feel like pot can raise your vibration, says Linda. And JJ Lady goes, yes. So this is wonderful. Let's look at it. I like to break down words themselves. And we look at the word psychedelic. I mean, you might immediately just fall back into black velvet posters or those velveteen posters with the black light on them to the 1960s and beads just swinging around people's necks. But psychedelic, broken down, really means to make the mind manifest. It was coined in the 1950s, and it's to make your mind manifest. And that is exactly what these drugs can do. So let's break down some drugs. If you're knowledgeable, throw it all out. Oh, Michael Lawler is asking how my foot is doing. My MTP joint on my toe is doing much better, though I have not been walking on it today, giving it lots of love and energy, and I can definitely feel the support from all of you guys. Thank you. And thank you for noticing the hairstyle, guys. Oh, je suis gay. We are definitely going to be talking in Spirit's opinion on microdosing. So I can't wait. Let's break down some of the drugs, though. So the ones I want to linger on are more of the psychedelic drugs. But just to name a few that you might know, ayahuasca, LSD, DMT, magic mushrooms or psilocybin. What about mescaline, marijuana, alcohol, cocaine, speed, uppers, opiates? We could talk about Special K, which is ketamine, ecstasy or Molly or MDMA. But the ones I want to linger on a little bit are the psychedelics. And I'll even include Special K kind of in the psychedelics, the ketamine. So the psilocybin, ketamine, LSD, ecstasy, which is Molly is a version of. So I want to talk about those. Because when we get into speed, cocaine, and painkillers like opiates, these aren't necessarily, they're managers in the body, and they're not necessarily there to propel the mind to manifest. So hanging on the psychedelics. Yeah. Joe's like, wow, are we really talking about drugs today? Yeah, we are. I get so many questions about Jamie. Can I take drugs? And people will actually just ask, is it good for me to take drugs? Like, it's not my decision. So let's just have an adult conversation about all the options that are out there and narrow it down and hopefully give you a deeper insight. Yes, as Peter Lombardi says, psychedelics are not drugs, they are plant medicines. But they are under the title of drugs. We'll arm wrestle later. I also want to include ayahuasca in there. Definitely curious about plant medicine's connection to opening, channeling abilities, and healing. Yeah, I am too. I'm intrigued big time with this. So that's how the conversation is coming about because many of you are interested in it, but there's not really just a safe, kind of comfortable place to throw this out. So we're having our psychedelics. So we're going to talk about magic mushrooms, psilocybin, the ecstasy, LSD, ayahuasca, special K. We're going to linger in that territory. So the other drugs that you can imagine or think of, I'm just going to set those aside, whether they are prescribed, legitimate drugs, or prescribed or non-prescribable drugs. There are chemicals that are man-made to put together, like LSD, and then there are natural chemicals and substances that we take, like ayahuasca and psilocybin and marijuana, are straight from the plant. So that's why Peter was mentioning that's called plant medicine and not drug use. So it is, if you're coming into looking at what to be interested in or what to learn about, I would definitely resonate more as a medium and as a psychic, as a sensitive to authentic, straight plant medicines rather than manipulated chemicals by people, something that we wouldn't find in nature that we would end up putting into our body. And I know we can go down this rabbit hole and say, yes, but anything that you find or can create is natural because you are a natural person and you are creating it. So let's pretend like we're not going to have that argument right now or disagreement. I love your comments. Amora says the plant medicines, not drugs, are magical. I haven't personally done them, but everybody I know who has had profound experience in ayahuasca, mushrooms, and other indigenous plant medicines. Yes. Yeah, Christy is like, ayahuasca is natural ingredients, but it has to be made. I mean, it's the same with anything. It requires our manipulation into the plant medicine to consume it, whether that is putting it on fire, whether that is making a drink or soup out of it, whatever it is. Michelle's sharing that she had some very profound experiences with edibles. It felt like everything in the universe was happening simultaneously and time didn't exist. A little overwhelming, but very interesting, she says. Okay, the big question. Can these psychedelics, whether we want to call them drugs or plant medicines, let's not get hung up on words, can they help us awaken spiritually? So I'm going to speak from my experiences. I love it's all in caps. J. Marcus. I love it. I'm going to speak from my experiences. When I got into college and I opened up my ability to see energy, spirits, and communicate with them, it was a little overwhelming. And I quickly found out that taking magic mushrooms or psilocybin, I would make Kool-Aid, it would tone down my abilities. And I would not see the dead people. So I would take a little bit of psilocybin to go to college, almost on a daily basis. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad, if you're watching. But it helped me focus on my life. Whereas my friends were experiencing magic mushrooms to open up and to explore, I was using it to hone in and straighten up. When I would sober up from the experience, then the energy and the lights came back on. I was inundated with messages, information from otherworldly sources. So I would take it to straighten up. If you knew me in college, yes, oh, there's hi. There's Jane. I have two beautiful mothers, and one of them is here right now. She goes, yes, we're listening. So I kept it in my possession to help me. What happens energetically is all based on one thing when you're engaging in plant medicine, and that is going to be your intent. How is your level of respect for the situation? Where's your level of knowledge? A lot of us will use drugs, alcohol, and plant medicine, we'll use all the words, to cut loose, to disconnect, to tear it up, just to say, I can't deal with this anymore. And I just want the absolute knowing or excuse that I can just disconnect. And for some of us, that's really healing, having that moment. I will say, when this happens, it is like you have left your house and you've left all the windows and all the doors open and all the lights on. It's as if you put out all your money and all your jewelry on the table and you said to everybody out, house is open. Just come look at anything. I'm going to trust you no matter what. I'm cutting loose. I'm not going to adhere to my boundaries. I'm not going to make any clear statement about my energy, my intent, and what I'm doing. I'm just going to participate. And it's almost like this childish shredding of your energy. And then when you consume plant medicine, drugs, alcohol in this state of mind, what's occurring is it's like a vulnerable kind of a shredding of your own energy. Those boundaries that you held in place, those beautiful like places of strength and honoring and respect, it's just like you're tearing them open. And for some people, it's actually what happens to your energy field. An aura and an energetic field is layers. Think of it like a jawbreaker. And the first layer is kind of physical. Then we have a mental layer, an emotional layer, a spiritual layer, etheric, it just, esoteric. It just goes on and on and on. And we use this to keep us in homeostasis. We use our chakra system, which are our doorways, our little exchange units in our body. They're the size of a 2-inch golf ball, and they reside within our physical body, but it's their job to open, not open like a door. There's no like hinge and going, oh, we're open and we're stuck. It's like a deep communication. When I say opening, it's like this, I am vulnerable, open, trusting, and I'm going to drink in that energy that your layers are holding. And it will interpret that energy into the physical body. It's one of our anchors that we have. Okay, so now when we do the drugs and we have the concept of, I just had a long work week and I'm just going to cut loose. I'm just going to rip it to shreds. Just give me whatever you got, put my dancing shoes on. And we have little respect to what we're getting into. This can cause tears and opens in the layers of your energy field, which will then leak or bleed out excess energy or your vital life energy. That's why some days you wake up, let's say you have your hangover, or you wake up with a bucket full of regrets because you're like, I don't remember, I blacked out. I was misusing this and I wasn't being respectful. And not only is my physical body going, this is like, I'm having a hard time. Think about what your energetic body is doing. It is torn. It's pushing energy out into the ether instead of holding it for you to use as a resource of energy. That's why you can feel depleted. You can feel confused, disassociated to life, careless. And if you are addicted to some of these things and you constantly come back to this because you cannot maintain it yourself, then it opens you up for something else. Drained, that's a really good word, S. This something else is if you are so careless with your energy. I'm talking about the use of drugs, plant medicine, alcohol in a careless fashion, I got to escape my life, I need to disconnect, and I need to cut loose. That's what I'm talking about specifically. That if you repeat that action, you become addicted to that to help you live your life or stay connected and enjoy your life, you're opening these tears more and more, and they're not being repaired. And this leaves you quite vulnerable for, this sounds the sci-fi, please, like, do the sci-fi music right now, like, na-na-na, I don't know, like an organ sound. But I've seen this, so we're going to talk about it. It allows for disincarnated spirits to attach to you. These disincarnated spirits are entities or people who have died, and their soul, their essence, did not transcend into a different dimensional plane that would better suit them. Instead, they lost their physical body and they maintain their spirit in a 3D form. Ghosts is what you can call them if you'd like. But here they are, not in the best dimensional realm for them, and they're there because they enjoy being human, or they don't want to admit that they've died. And let's say one of them was an alcoholic. I love a good drink. Sees that you love a good drink too, and you're addicted to it, and you're careless. You don't give a rat's ass, excuse me for saying that, about what you're doing. And then this disincarnated spirit goes, I remember that sensation. That was good times. And it sees that you are torn or open, and it goes, I could just fit right in there. And then as I'm in there, I can enjoy all those drinks you're having. And while I'm in there, I'll encourage you to have those drinks. And I will be your best friend. And my personality, I will start to merge that with yours. This is why sometimes, I'm not saying it's an absolute, but sometimes when people are addicted to drugs, how their personalities change, their likes change, they crave different foods. It's like they're not that person you knew. And you probably knew them before when they were on the drugs or alcohol or plant medicine, and they were them, they were just altered. But now they're not them and they're altered. That can be an attached spirit. You guys hanging on? Like, hang on for this ride. Here we go. Let's see, you guys have been making such wonderful comments. I wanted to pause and take a look. Marnie's sharing that she uses weed in her healing practice with her MS. And I tried to thank Prime Creator Gaia Cannabis and their healing love and set my intentions. Mostly I use it to relax from the pain. That's the point, Marnie. It's the intent. That is the part that changes everything. And we're going to talk about it. Amber says, so LSD isn't good to connect? Coming down from it felt really heavy, but calm, but sad, but exhausted. So LSD is man-made chemicals. It's a mixture. So it is a little more harsh to your body. I would suggest if you're interested in a psychedelic, I would go with a plant-based psychedelic, and I would suggest psilocybin. These are my suggestions. I am not a doctor. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm telling you to think, get the knowledge, get the information, connect to your heart, and let's do the talk. It is making that intent. So let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I've never done it before. I'm going to do psilocybin. You've picked your plant medicine. I would say pick organic and pick small if you're stepping into this world. If you want to step in this world, organic and small. I would then be very clear about why are you doing this? Because if you need to disconnect, if you need to escape, don't do this. You have so many tools in your pocket as a beautiful human being. Use those. Do some yoga, do some breathing. Oh my God, breath work can get you high as all get out. It's Incredible. Do a deprivation tank. Do a deprivation room. Meditate with your eyes open. Explore all those other things that you have if you're needing to escape. But if you're like, I'm good, I don't need to escape from anything, I want that level up feeling. So that level up feeling actually happens with psychedelics. There has been a ton of studies and research done on this. There was one study led by Michael Shartner, Adam Barrett, and Professor Seth over at the Sackler Center. They actually read studies of what University of London did on psychedelics and the effects on the brain, and they took it to a new level, a new step over at the University of Sussex, and started to use this technology of brain imaging to look at the magnetic fields around the brain. What is the nervous system? What are the neural pathways doing when somebody is on a psychedelic? Well, when somebody is normally functioning, levels of communication take those paths that were most traveled, right? That's kind of that expected response. That's that comfort of life. You have done this time and time again. The neurons had run the path. It's all now like worn out to like a deep cavern. It's done it so many times. With psychedelics, it doesn't double or triple or quadruple the amount of neurotransmissions that you have. What it does do, same amount, but they use new pathways. It literally gets you outside of the box. So when you observe the brain and its magnetic field in an awake state without the use of a psychedelic, it's really organized. It's kind of highlighted on the sides. It's very smooth. Lots of empty space in the middle kind of thing. You'll look at one that's on psychedelics and there's lights everywhere. It's the same amount of communication, but it's done in different and new paths. So this is that feeling that you get of, I'm sensing something new. I'm experiencing something wonderful. This is where you get that broader scope of consciousness. It's where your head just goes, like, I'm seeing this for the first time. I never knew the sky could be so blue. Because you're literally looking at it in a way where you've never seen it before. Isn't that amazing? You get these altered sensations. Your energy boosts because it is using new ways of processing the energy. You actually end up with a higher level of empathy and more pleasure in your brain, your emotions, and in your body. And all of that is scientifically proven. So if you're choosing to step forward and say, this might be something for me, plant-based, start small, set your intent. Once you have your information and your knowledge, it is about setting the intent, just like Marnie was sharing. But it's also, when I mentioned before, it's not like leaving your house open and putting all your money and your jewels on the table and opening the windows and going, I'm just going to trust anybody who can wander in here. If they want to take stuff, they can. No. You go into this with purpose. And you know what happens to your energy when you have purpose? It doesn't tear. All of a sudden you have this substance inside of you that's not, made by you. Food is this way too, people. So we're not talking out of the ordinary. You put food in you that you don't generate yourself. So we've taken this plant medicine and here you are going to consume it and you have a very clear intent. This is why I'm here. So with a clear intent, you're going to be looking at addressing your beliefs. Who do you believe in? Is it God, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Bhikkhuna, higher self, all that is, mother, father, God? Is it Gaia? Oh, what is it? Take that, because what you believe in is going to be your own truth. And you say, oh, here it is. Okay, I honor you. Like, I'm calling you in. Call in your team, your angels, your guides, your friends, your relatives, your gurus, your multidimensionals, your animal companions, whatever it is. You call them in and go, I'm about to consume this. And in the act of consuming this, this is what I'm looking for. Share your purpose. Connect. It is so incredible when people have meaning to something, the strength of the response and the health of the engagement is through the roof. Make your meaning with your intent, but you need to believe in all the words. If you're just mom saying it, and you're like, I don't know, come protect me. I'm going to do this crazy stuff and I'm going to put a hula scoop on, No, that's obviously you needing to cut loose and blow some steam out. This is obviously you saying, the way that I'm working my life right now is overwhelming and I need a break, but I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to place the excuse on the alcohol, the drug, or the plant medicine. No, this is not a healthy place to come from if you're going to want to experience psychedelics and increase your spiritual awakening. No. If you are fearful of the drug, of the plant medicine itself, don't do it. It's not for you. It's totally fine. It doesn't make you a cool kid. It doesn't make you anything by experiencing it or not experiencing. Please don't dive into peer pressure. Just don't do it. So, yes, we're getting there too. Well, Danielle Verde is saying, what about psychedelics during pregnancy? I would not. During pregnancy, I would not use psychedelics or any extreme influences, as your body is already working really, really hard and making a beautiful human being. I would focus more on nurturing the life and then leaving your psychedelic or your journeying in that way when you are a single identity and not with a child. So when you have your intent, that's like closing the windows, closing the door. It's giving a proper space for all your money, your jewels. It's putting everything away nice and clear. And it's saying, now I can expand because I know where everything is. It's because we have purpose. Now I can take my consciousness and let it go global. Now I am safe to do so. There is no harmful vulnerability in the experience. Okay. If you decide this is what I need to be doing, do not do it alone. Period. I would not journey alone. Again, I am not a doctor nor an expert. I am somebody who has had many, many experiences with psychedelics, but I would not call myself an expert. What I will say is, if you want to do this kind of work, you find somebody who can help you. Of course, in college, we called it Trip Mama and Hi Parents, but that was often my title, was Trip Mama. And those days that I would not consume, but my friends wanted to, I would be designated driver. I carried vitamins and orange juice. I carried water and food. I carried toys and music. And I hosted and I made sure everybody felt safe and they were out of harm's way. And that if somebody was having a difficult time, that I was the ears that could listen, that I would hold them, that I would sing to them, whatever it took to allow them to get back on that path of awareness and strength and protection. So do not journey alone. I like it when there is a single identity that is conscious and aware and is running the space. So one person as a host or guide, and that this guide know highly, not just how to care for a human being, but how to provide safety for them. That will also mean personal physical safety, emotional safety. I would also want this person to know how to address the psyche. And so this means that if somebody is having a mental breakdown, that they're able to acknowledge what's going on and not just leave them behind. There are many times somebody, out of being afraid or not knowing how somebody is responding to the actual drug, that the person leaves them at the house, leaves them by themselves, leaves them behind. Doesn't want to, feel that they're at fault or guilt. At any time anything is going awry, that person who is caring for you needs to know what they're doing, needs to call 911, needs to be strong enough to take you to a hospital. I know I'm talking big stories here, but I'm talking big stories because I know people personally who've been in that situation. So we're approaching the topic of, can psychedelics open your spiritual awakening? Can it broaden it? The answer is yes. Science is behind it. Yes, it happens. But there are some protocols to go with it, and these are some of them. Oh, Christy, she said, I wish I had somebody like you in my life. Thank you. I want to go to Rhythmia, but I'm kind of scared to do it. Ooh, I don't know this one. How do you safely get these drugs without dying? From some rookie. So with your research online, whether you do that in incognito search in your search engine, did you get me there? You'll find people who are naturally resourcing this medicine. You'll find people who have a history with it. I would never work with somebody in this line unless I could speak to or knew of at least 5 others that have worked with that person as a guide, or has purchased or found that person and received medicine from them. I would say minimal 5 people. And yes, you contact those people and you talk to them. How was your experience? Advocate for yourself. This is not a, well, I mean, those 100 people did it, I guess I could do it, and you're afraid of it and you don't have enough information, because you're going to take that straight into your journey. And where's that going to get you? Except facing some demons and fear and stuff before you can get to this really expansive position. So these are not party drugs. Psychedelics are not the, okay, I'm just going to do it to cut loose. They demand a level of respect. And I'm hoping that through our conversation today, you find a little comfort, but you also know I need to research, I need to be consciously aware, I need to be safe. And they are not a party drug. They bring on experiences that are close to life experiences, such as giving birth to your children, to being on death's door, to being, this heightened, amazing, awakened state, like a deep transcendental meditation, if you can achieve this. It's a good tool, but not a toy. There's a documentary on Amazon, Shares Amor, with Michelle Rodriguez. You can learn about Rhythmia there. There's websites, of course. They're in Costa Rica. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. I can't wait to look at that. As Peter's saying, they demand huge respect. If you cannot give it huge respect, I'm going to kindly ask you, don't do it. Why? Why step off the boat into the deep ocean and not know how to swim? Please have that deep level of respect, and then get into the whole thing. I always respect the psychedelics. Always respect the psychedelic you're dealing with. Yes. Well, Maladama is asking my take on kratom. I don't know this one either. This is fun. I'm gonna learn all kinds of stuff. I was reading some of the comments. I wanted to go back and see. Rosalie says, I've had some experience with psilocybin, and almost every trip I've seen and felt a strong spirit or presence of the Sphinx. I really wonder why that happens and what it means. I love that. So psilocybin, we mentioned at the beginning, someone asked a question about microdosing. So there are dosing based on size and weight. You can do a smaller dose which doesn't take you into that deep journeying, versus a macro dose that will take you into a deep journeying somewhere lasting between 8 to 10 hours. A microdose can last anywhere between 1 to 3 hours, kind of around 4 if it's a bigger, small dose. I would definitely suggest taking the smaller doses first. This even goes along with if you're wishing to use marijuana, if you're wishing to use ayahuasca, anything of that nature, not alone, with a guide, with your research, and only with your own permission, right? You feel good, you feel safe. If you have any hesitancy, continue to learn about it. Maybe witness somebody else going through it. Maybe help somebody else in their journey. But don't be the one consuming it. Not until you can really connect with it. When you can connect to it, that's when you end up with those healthy boundaries. Your energy's not tore up. You expand your light almost globally and in other dimensional planes. You broaden your consciousness. And yes, proven, it opens your spiritual awakening. People come back to life feeling as if they've had a near-death experience, like we mentioned before, comparable to giving birth. It is just this out of the ordinary, outside of the box way that you can view the world and seek different directions in your own life. Microdosing is also done in consistency. So you could take one a day for a small amount or once a week to really help. There has been studies shown that it helps with headaches, depression, addiction to other drugs such as opiates. If this is something that interests you, I encourage you, like, put your fingers to the keyboard and get into this and get that information for yourself. If you find that it's going to be helping you, find somebody, do their research, talk to at least 5 people that have engaged with them, check in with yourself, and then choose to move forward. It also helps with PTSD, says Malidoma. Yes, it does. It is beautiful. I love it. So somebody asked how to get rid of the tears in the energy if you were just carelessly being involved in the drugs or alcohol or plant medicine, or if you had an attached spirit because of this interaction. So you can find people out there that are experts in this. You can mend your own energy. I would suggest using somebody else to help you navigate that healing journey. There are several people in my arsenal that I can recommend. One that comes to mind is Janet Raftis, as well as Emily First. They're wonderful people to connect with to help in that healing journey. If you want to look for somebody that can help you remove an attached spirit or to see if you have an attached spirit, I don't know if Janet does that. Colleen, do you know? That just kind of remind me. I wonder. But you can find mediums and healers that can negotiate with the entity, remove the energy from your energy source, which is your energetic field, help them transition on or find a better place to resonate in so that all the needs are being met of the spirit and the person. It almost requires the healer or the medium to be a counselor in a way, because you are going to be talking about what needs are being met by you joining. And there have been some times where I've talked to people who have attached entities and I go to remove them and they go, no, like, don't mess with that. That's a part of me. And I have to convey, it's not a part of you. It's something that's come into you that now you have a codependent relationship on. So going through therapy can help you see where your codependent relationships are, even if they're in spirit and not a spouse or a friend or family, a person. Address the codependency, and then the person's going to be open enough to allow the medium or the healer to come in and remove the entity that you've merged with so tightly so that you can then gain your own energy. I know, Colleen, you're not sure either. I will have to check my list of people of who does the removal of discarnate spirits. But if you notice your personality changing and it's not you, and you have been careless, and you're not somebody who's moving with conscious energy and you're just throwing it to the wind, like, "Ugh, whatever. I'm practicing surrendering, right? So, whatever." That's not surrender. That's called carelessness. And it's really rude to do for yourself. But so if you found yourself in those situations and you're trying to check back in and just identify what's going on? Why am I behaving this way? This could be something that's there. I would say to everything, every day with an intent. I would say do everything every day with intent. Yes, that's that consciousness present moment. Even your words, says Peter Lombardi. How do you do it in your own? Claudia, can you expand on that question? Because the questions do come in a little bit delayed. I want to make sure that we are on the same page. Jamie says, Monacos, is alcohol helpful in opening up the third eye or intuition? Obviously not too much though. I have found alcohol in general to be a meddler or muddier. In my opinion, from what I've witnessed and observed, alcohol kind of takes your thoughts and says, okay, none of them are really important right now, and washes them, where sometimes you can't put them in order. It doesn't really allow you to recall respect, careful, pride. It just wants you to disappear from it. So if taken lightly, I can see where it could assist with nerves, like one shot, one shot of tequila can help you go, okay, I'm calming this down. But to continuously drink or add more to it, I would say no. In my opinion, I can't believe we're really going to talk about this. In my opinion, I would consider, for those of you who are tolerant to marijuana, I would consider marijuana a better option than alcohol. Alcohol is actually really destructive to your physical body. Marijuana is not that destructive if we're comparing the two. And marijuana does have that thing of, oh, these thoughts aren't that important, but it puts you in the mind state of careful, love, holding, respect, beauty. It has this way of doing an, oh, wow. Whereas alcohol almost gives you a false sense of pride and strength, where you're like, I'm just going to go over there and just hit him because he deserves it. Whereas the marijuana would kind of let you rest back and go, what he did before was not right, but I'm finding I love him so deeply for exactly who he is. So I'm speaking very much in general, because we have to take into consideration the mindset and perspective of each person consuming, and also their tolerant levels and intolerance levels, because we can actually be a little allergic or reactive to these things as well. Good, that was good. How are you guys doing? Is the conversation helpful? And Wendy Maitland says, everything is very good and beautiful with your kitty. She says, I'm loving on Cherry. I'm loving on Cherry. So it's good to know. And she said she'll help Cherry come forward and communicate with you more. Okay, so one more topic on the psilocybin or psychedelics. Using them in a guided, supportive community doesn't mean that you need to be with 15 other people. You could have one guide or one therapist for yourself. I know some states do this. California used to have a wonderful variance in their law for psychology, for mental health, to give permission to the therapist to give LSD or ecstasy or ketamine to their client and observe and help them work through what's going on to heal. So know that you don't have to be with a group, but I definitely want you to be with someone. And when you're considering using this, my rule of thumb, which is just mine, is this is not an everyday journey, and it's not really an every week journey. There's so much processing that comes after when we have these deep aha awakening moments, when your consciousness does expand. And when it happens and you come back and you go, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. I'm going to hold on to that like it was so incredible. And then the more you get into it and the more you want to look at it, the more it just starts to unravel and fall away from you. And you think, I have to do it again. Now I have to get it back. But I just want to shed light on the codependency of relying on any kind of substance to get you in a place of achieving something. I will state that you do have everything you need directly inside of you. And if you really want to push it, look at transcendental meditation, look at deprivation tanks, look at 40 days of meditation and breath work, which Melodama is saying she did her 40 days, yay! And now it's gone. Why does it do this to me? Okay. Congratulations. I wanted to read what you said. It just evaporated it. So I would take note. If you find yourself going, oh, I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to do it again. I can't wait to do it again. What is that? What are you stepping over inside of yourself, or not knowing to learn or unwilling to look at to create that natural high or connection internally and organically with you? My rule of thumb is once a season, or twice a year, or once a year. I hope that helps you. If you like what we're talking about, please click the like button. You can subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you get notified of when we go live. If you have topic suggestions, I would love to hear about them. Please post them. I do take the questions that you give. I write them down and I make lists out of them and decide what we're going to be chatting on next week. Let's see, next week I will not be here. I'll be traveling, but I'll be talking to you at other times during the week. I'll be coming straight from Florida. Can't wait to see my parents. I get to see all 4 of them. I'm so excited. And if you love this and getting spiritual support, we do have a YouTube subscription that you can sign up for. We have 3 different tiers. You get meditations, connections with spirits, and many lessons and book clubs. If you want to get into energy healing, we do have Reiki tomorrow. It's from 10 to 2 Eastern Standard Time. It is online and remote. If you've always wanted to learn Reiki Level 1, jump in. Let's do this. It's going to be a great day. I've had so much fun with you guys. You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you, Wendy. You guys rock it. Claudia is just quickly asking, what's a deprivation tank? A deprivation tank is going to remove your traditional senses. There's going to be no smell, a neutral smell. You're going to go into a dark room. It's actually a tank that you get into and you close it. It's filled with salt water. And the salt content is so high that you float. I mean, you float right on the surface of the water. The water is body temperature. So your body doesn't go, oh, the water's cold or hot. It's just same temperature as you. You're in the darkness. You can't see. You're not feeling. You have no horizon line. You're not hearing anything because you put little earplugs in. Without seeing, hearing, feeling, sensing where you are in time and space, it sets the brain on doing some really weird stuff. If deprivation tank is too much for you, try out the hypnagogic state, and that is between your conscious and subconscious awake states when you go to sleep. So here's your homework. If you want to go, what will psychedelics really get me versus what can I do myself? Here's what you can be doing yourself. When you're going to bed, lay on your back. If you're like, I don't sleep on my back, just do it for this once. Lay on your back, and you're going to put your arms straight in the air, perpendicular. So your fingers are pointing to the ceiling. You're going to kind of rest your shoulder back, and you're going to do your best to keep your fingers pointed to the ceiling as you go to sleep. Tell yourself, go to sleep. Relax. Think about your spirit team. Think about the ones that are in an altered state or altered beyond, and give them love. Kind of call in your angels, guides, friends, relatives, multidimensionals, animal companions, whomever they are. And you're going to close your eyes, keep your arm up, and you're going to do your best to go to sleep. And when your arm starts to drop, slowly, without moving any other part of your body, slowly just put your arm back up, because your brain is going to go, God, what is wrong with you? Put your arm down. We're trying to sleep. And your brain's going to go, this is unnatural. We can't sleep with the arm up. But the body is going to go, oh, I'm just so tired. We've been awake too long. We're just going to check out. And you stretch the consciousness, subconscious communication into longer moments rather than these brief few seconds. And you get spirit communication, you get a light show, you get sound qualities, everything goes into a hyper gear. So this is somewhat of deprivation, the deprivation tank. It's somewhat like that, and it's somewhat comparable, somewhat, to a psychedelic journey. Oh, Peter, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. You're very welcome, Linda. Colleen, thank you so much for making the posts. Kiara says hi to my mom and dad, also to the other mom and dad that we haven't met yet. Maybe I can talk them into coming in so you could meet the other set too. Have I sent a notice when the trance channeling is? For the membership, we're going to be doing Q&As next Thursday, the 20th. Usually it's on a Wednesday, but our Q&A with Spirit is going to be on the 20th of May. So show up with your membership and you can ask questions to Grace and Maitland. Shannon says, I'll see you in class tomorrow. Oh my God, I'll see you in Reiki. I'm so thrilled. With that, thank you so much for being present. You guys have just been absolutely wonderful. Please leave your comments and give us some topics that you would like to hear in our energy-centric chats. With that, have a beautiful weekend. Choose happiness. It's a choice. Be conscious and make it. It's an awesome journey. Bye, guys.